I always thought my family was just like any other, typical, normal, uneventful. Growing up, my dad was my hero. He taught me how to ride a bike, how to fish, and even how to fix a car. My mom was always there with a smile and some of the best home-cooked meals you could imagine. Life was good, that was, until last Christmas. We were gathered at my grandma's house for the holidays. As usual, there was a lot of laughter, food, and the sharing of old stories. After dinner, my grandma pulled out a dusty old photo album. We were flipping through the pages looking at pictures of my dad when he was younger. That's when I noticed something odd. One of the photos showed my dad holding a baby that looked just like me. But the date on the back didn't add up. According to the date, I wasn't even born yet. I asked my grandma about it, and she gave me a puzzled look. She said it must be a mistake and quickly moved on to another photo. But I couldn't shake the feeling that something was off. Later that night, after everyone had gone to bed, I snuck back into the living room and grabbed the photo album. I flipped through it again and found another picture of my dad with the same baby. This time, the back of the photo had a name written on it: David. My heart raced as I realized it wasn't me in the photo. The next day, I confronted my mom about it. She looked shocked and hesitant, but finally agreed to talk. She told me that she and my dad had struggled to have children. They had tried for years with no success. Eventually, they decided to adopt. My biological mother was a young woman who couldn't take care of me, and my parents had adopted me when I was just a few days old. I was stunned. My dad wasn't my biological father. How could this be? I had always felt such a strong connection to him. My mom explained that they had planned to tell me when I was older, but the right moment never seemed to come. That night, I went to my dad. I was scared, confused, and hurt. I didn't know how he would react. When I told him what I had discovered, he looked at me with a blank expression and said, "We wanted to protect you, but now you know the truth. You're old enough to understand." His words felt cold and distant. Over the next few weeks, the atmosphere at home grew tense. My dad and I barely spoke, and when we did, it was strained and awkward. The man who had always been my hero now seemed like a stranger. The connection we once shared was gone. I tried to reach out to mend the gap, but he remained distant. It was as if discovering the truth had created an unbridgeable chasm between us. My mom did her best to keep things normal, but even she couldn't hide her sorrow. Eventually, I left for college, hoping that time and distance might heal the wounds. But every time I came home, the tension remained. My dad and I were never able to reclaim what we had lost. He grew quieter and more withdrawn, and I felt the weight of our fractured relationship every day. Years passed, and I started my own family. I hoped that becoming a father would help me understand him better,